Ever get that like pang of regret when you hear about some crypto that just went ballistic years back? Thinking, oh man, if only I had jumped on that train early.
Oh, absolutely. We've all been there. That what if feeling, right?
Yeah, exactly. So today we're going to dive deep into one of those could have been a millionaire stories, maybe extract some wisdom from it, and who knows, maybe even spot a similar opportunity brewing right now.
Sounds good to me.
So we've been poring over some fresh market analyses and digging into the history of this cryptocurrency called Quant, QNT, that's the ticker.
Quant, yeah. Interesting one.
It is. Our goal today is to give you the full lowdown on Quant, like what it actually is, what its price has been doing lately, and if its journey can teach us anything about spotting those like super promising new crypto projects before they blow up.
Right. Kind of like a crystal ball for crypto.
Well, maybe not that magical, but you get the idea. So to kick things off, let's tackle the basics. What is this Quant thing all about?
Okay, so Quant Network, the company behind it, they're based in London, and they've got this, pretty bold mission to completely revolutionize how we think about blockchain.
Okay, big claim.
Yeah, and their big innovation is this thing called Overledger. They call it a blockchain operating system.
A blockchain operating system. Now, I'm all for tech, but that sounds kind of, complicated. What does that even mean for, regular folks like me?
I hear you. Think of it this way. Right now, different blockchains, they're often like isolated computer networks. They can't really talk to each other easily.
Right, like speaking different languages.
Exactly. And that's where Overledger comes in. It's designed to be like the first system that lets all these different blockchains seamlessly communicate, exchange data, you name it.
So like a universal translator for blockchains.
Perfect analogy. Their goal is to create what they call an open, trusted network. And not just for people, for businesses, for machines, for everything. A way to share value and data across any blockchain.
So it's not about picking a winner, it's about making them all work together. That's pretty big.
Huge. And Quant itself, that's the protocol, the set of rules that makes this whole interoperability thing actually happen. And from what we've seen, they seem to be laser focused on how big institutions can use this. Banks, investment firms, that kind of crowd.
Interesting. So what concrete problems does Quant solve for these big players?
Well, mainly two big ones. First, making the exchange of assets and data between different blockchains completely secure and smooth.
Okay, that makes sense. Blockchains are all about security, right?
Absolutely. And the second one is making cross-border payments way, way more efficient.
Oh, that's a huge one. I mean, international transfers can be such a pain.
Tell me about it. Imagine a bank using, say, one blockchain to track its assets and another one for processing payments. Quant's tech would make those two systems work together perfectly. No more clunky workarounds, no more delays. Think of the time and money saved.
Yeah, that would be a game changer for businesses. So, back to the tech for a sec. How does this Overledger magic actually work? How do they connect things like Bitcoin, Ripple, Ethereum, all built on totally different tech, right?
Right. They use something called a blockchain-agnostic Overledger API gateway. Now, an API, that's basically a digital doorway that lets different software systems talk to each other.
Okay, got it.
And agnostic. That means it doesn't care what kind of blockchain it is, it can communicate with any of them.
Like a universal plug.
Exactly. One of the reports even described it as a decentralized payment validation system. So it can verify payments happening across different blockchains without needing a central authority.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they're not trying to replace all the blockchains, they're making them all talk.
Exactly. And the cool part is their system is built in layers. You've got the transaction layer, confirming the transactions themselves. Cool. Then there's the messaging layer for data transfer. And on top of that, the filtering and ordering layer, verifying data coming from outside the blockchain and all those interactions with dApps, decentralized applications.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Pretty sophisticated stuff.
Sounds like it. Okay, so what are the main pieces of this whole Quant ecosystem?
Okay, so first, you've got the Quant Overledger network itself. That's like the foundation, the infrastructure for everything.
Yeah.
Then there's the Quant Overledger DLT gateway, which specifically handles swapping smart contracts and tokens between different blockchains.
And DLT stands for?
Distributed Ledger Technology. Basically, the underlying tech behind blockchains.
Got it.
And finally, there are Quant maps. These are dApps, but they're built to run on multiple blockchains at once, thanks to Quant's tech.
Multi-chain dApps, that's pretty cool. So where does the actual QNT token fit into all of this? What's it for?
The QNT token is what we call a utility token. It's your ticket to the Quant ecosystem. You want to use their tech, connect to those multi-chain maps, you're going to need QNT.
Makes sense.
And since it's built on Ethereum, it follows all the rules for tokens on that network.
Okay, so built on Ethereum, but designed to connect to everything. When did this whole thing actually start?
Quant was founded way back in 2015 by a guy named Gilbert Verdian. And there's a limited supply of QNT tokens, just over 14.6 million.
Oh, so it's a relatively scarce resource that can definitely affect the price, right?
Absolutely.
All right, so just to recap, what makes Quant truly unique in the crypto world?
I'd say two main things. First, its laser focus on helping big organizations, like really big ones, to achieve interoperability between different blockchains. Getting these systems to play nice together, that's their bread and butter.
Right, the enterprise solution.
Exactly. And second, it's blockchain agnostic, meaning it's designed to work with pretty much any type of distributed ledger tech out there, not just a few hand-picked ones. Plus, they've got this community-governed treasury, which is a pretty interesting approach to decision-making.
Sounds very democratic. And what about security? How does Quant keep the network safe?
Right now, it's secured by the same mechanism that secures the Ethereum blockchain, the proof-of-work consensus model.
All right, that gives us a good understanding of the tech and the big picture behind Quant. Now, let's shift gears and look at what's been happening in the market, because I came across some analysis suggesting that Quant might be ready for a price surge.
Yeah, I saw that too. This analyst goes by VipRoseTr. They're seeing some significant bullish momentum building up for Quant. They pointed to this harmonic pattern that just completed on the price charts, and also a bounce off some key price levels where there's historically been a lot of buying interest.
Harmonic pattern. Now, I'm not a chart wizard. What's the takeaway from that for, the rest of us?
Think of these patterns as like recurring shapes that traders look for on price charts. They believe these shapes can kind of hint at when a trend might be about to flip directions.
Gotcha.
And the fact that Quant just finished one of these patterns and then bounced off those key support levels, that's seen as a potential signal that the price might be heading up.
Like hitting a trampoline.
Kind of. So what specific price targets did they mention? Well, this analyst, VipRoseTr, they use these things called Fibonacci ratios to identify potential price levels.
Fibonacci, those are like mathematical ratios, right?
Exactly. And some traders believe they can act as support or resistance levels. So the targets they highlighted were $148.01, $187, and then $223.03. They even said that if Quant manages to break above $223.03, it could trigger a serious upward move.
Wow, those are some potentially huge gains from where we've seen Quant trading recently. The analysis also mentioned that these recent price dips were good buying opportunities. What made them think that?
It's all about that bounce back up from the $95-$100 price range. That seemed to confirm the harmonic pattern they were watching. Plus, that $95-$100 level also lined up with a 0.786 Fibonacci retracement level. And historically, that price zone has been a launch pad for upward moves for Quant. So seeing it happen again after that harmonic pattern, it boosted confidence that an uptrend might be kicking off.
Okay, so price hit a floor, bounce back strong, potential upward momentum. Makes sense.
Yep. And the chart analysis also highlighted specific levels to watch, kind of like potential floors and ceilings for the price.
Okay, tell me more about those.
All right, so that $95-$100 zone, that's considered the major support level, the point where the price is likely to stop falling. There's also a shorter-term support area between 113 and 117 alls, which might hold during smaller dips.
And on the flip side, what about those resistance levels, the hurdles on the way up?
The first big one is around $148.01, which happens to coincide with the 0.236 Fibonacci level. That level has been tough for Quant to break through earlier this year. But if it does, the next big resistance is at $187.01, the 0.382 Fibonacci extension. And as we mentioned, $223.03 is the big kahuna. Breaking through that could be a major catalyst.
A whole roadmap of potential price action. Now, this report also mentioned a breakout from a descending channel. What does that mean for the price?
Imagine the price has been trending down, bouncing between two downward sloping lines. That's a descending channel, and it usually suggests the bears are in control. But when the price breaks out above that upper line, that's a sign the buyers are back in the driver's seat, a sign of renewed confidence and strength.
All right, so let's bring in some real-world numbers now. What does the CoinMarketCap article say about where Quant was actually trading at the time?
Okay, so they reported Quant trading around $116.94, up 2.84% in the last 24 hours. It was fluctuating between $114.10 and $117, showing some active trading going on.
And what about the total market cap, the overall value of all the quant out there, and how much quant was being traded?
Well, the market cap had also got up by 2.84% to $1.41 billion, so definitely growing interest. Interestingly, the trading volume over the past 24 hours had actually dropped by about 18% to $29.3 million.
Less trading, but the price still went up. That's interesting.
Yeah, and it suggests that the buying demand was pretty strong. The report also highlighted that a big chunk of the total QNT supply is already in circulation.
Why is that important?
Well, with about 81% of all QNT tokens already out there being traded, it means there's not a massive influx of new tokens about to hit the market. That relative scarcity, combined with strong demand, can potentially push the price up faster.
Supply and demand, the classic economic drivers. What were the specific bullish and bearish scenarios outlined in the analysis?
So the optimistic view was that if Quant could break above that $117 resistance, it could quickly make a run towards $120, which is often seen as a psychologically important level. And if it keeps gaining momentum, it could then target those resistance levels at $148.01 and $187.01, with the potential for like a massive rally if it breaks through $223.
So lots of upside potential if things go right.
Definitely. On the flip side, the more cautious view was that if the price falls below $114, it might retrace back down to $110. And if the trading volume keeps shrinking, it could signal weakening demand, which might keep Quant stuck in a lower trading range.
Okay, so both possibilities to keep in mind. Now, this is where things get a bit interesting. We also have data from Forbes crypto market data, and it paints a different picture of Quant's price as of March 29th, 2025.
Ah, yes. What did they have?
Well, according to Forbes, on that date, Quant was trading at $69.25 with a tiny increase of 0.32%. They also give us some historical data. The price had been between $68.09 and $80.21 over the past week, and between $68.09 and $101.37 over the last month.
Okay, quite a bit lower than the CoinMarketCap data.
Right, and the Forbes data is actually more up to date than the 2 months ago timeframe mentioned in the earlier CoinMarketCap piece.
That explains it. It really highlights how quickly things can shift in crypto.
Exactly, and we have one more data point also from CoinMarketCap, this one from March 30th, 2025. What does this one say?
This latest data puts the price at $70.51 for Quant, down 0.46% in the last 24 hours. Market cap is listed as $851.19 million, and the 24-hour trading volume was $17.19 million. Circulating supply is 12.07 million tokens, which is about 81% of the total supply of 14.88 million. They've also got the fully diluted market cap estimated at $1.05 billion.
So more in line with the Forbes data than the earlier analysis.
Exactly. And this data also gives us some longer-term context, showing that Quant's price has actually been on a downtrend over the past 30, 60, and 90 days. Plus, the lowest price in the last 24 hours was $68.17. The highest was $71.14, and the all-time high, $428.38. Quite a ride.
Wow, talk about volatility. So we've got a bit of a mixed picture here. Some older analysis pointed towards a potential uptrend, but the more recent data shows Quant trading much lower. A good reminder for everyone listening to always do your own thorough research and remember that crypto is, well, notoriously unpredictable.
Absolutely. Always look at info from multiple sources and pay close attention to how recent it is. Sentiment can change in a heartbeat.
Couldn't agree more. Now let's switch gears a bit. One of the articles we look at has this catchy title. Thought you missed out on Quant's rise. Here's a new crypto opportunity that could redefine your financial future. Talk about playing on that fear of missing out. What does this article say about Quant's past success?
Well, it really hammers home the point about the massive returns early Quant investors saw. It mentions that during its initial coin offering, the ICO, the token was going for less than $1. Compare that to its all-time high, and it's clear that those who believed early on made a killing. It really drives home the potential of getting in early on, a utility-driven crypto project that takes off.
Okay, and that brings us to this new crypto opportunity they're hyping, Quebetics, ticker TECAS. What's the big idea behind it?
Quebetics is being presented as a promising new crypto project with real-world applications, specifically in the world of internet privacy and security. Their flagship product is a decentralized VPN service, a DVPN.
A decentralized VPN. Now, lots of folks are using VPNs already. How is this different?
Traditional VPNs, they usually rely on a network of centralized servers, meaning they could potentially keep logs of your activity and might be vulnerable to censorship or data breaches. Single point of failure.
All right, it makes sense.
Quebetics DVPN, on the other hand, runs on a peer-to-peer network. No central authority controlling everything. That's how they claim to provide a much higher level of privacy and end-to-end encryption.
So a more distributed, more secure system.
Exactly. And get this, they've also got a tokenized ecosystem where users can earn rewards in tech as tokens just for sharing their internet bandwidth.
Oh, so helping to power the network earns you tokens. Smart.
Right. It's a community-driven approach.
I like it. So where would this Quebetics thing actually be useful in the real world?
The article gives a couple of good examples.
Yeah.
First, journalists working in, say, high-risk areas with lots of surveillance. A DVPN could give them anonymous and secure access to info. Second, small businesses looking for affordable but strong internet security.
Makes sense. And what's the status of Quebetics right now? Still in the early stages, maybe a pre-sale?
Yeah, it looks like they're in the 11th stage of their pre-sale. They've already sold over 288 million TICS tokens to over 7,500 people, raising $5 million so far. The current price is 0.0282C per token, but they're saying the price will jump 10% in the next pre-sale stage.
And they're also mentioning some pretty eye-popping potential returns for pre-sale investors. What are those projections based on?
Well, they're using the current pre-sale price and projecting potential future values. They're saying that by the end of the pre-sale, TCAS could hit $0.25, which would be a huge return for early birds. They even have more ambitious targets, $1 after the pre-sale, $5 down the line, and even $15 after the main network launch. Of course, those are pretty optimistic.
Definitely some big ifs there. But the article seems to be drawing a clear parallel between Quebetics now and Quant back in the day. What's the core of that comparison?
It boils down to real-world utility and solving actual problems. Just like Quant aimed to solve the blockchain communication problem, Quebetics is tackling the growing need for online privacy and security. The article even suggests that Quebetics might have broader appeal with its DVPN and its vision for a decentralized Web3 ecosystem.
So the argument is, getting in early on, Quant led to big gains because it had a clear, useful purpose. Quebetics, focusing on a different but equally important need, could follow a similar path.
That's the gist of it, yeah. It's all about spotting those projects that solve real problems and have the potential for mass adoption.
Okay, so let's wrap things up. What are the key takeaways our listeners should remember from this deep dive?
When it comes to Quant, its core tech is all about letting different blockchains talk to each other, with a focus on big institutions. We also saw how much its price surged from its early days. But the current market picture is a bit murky. Some older analysis hints at a bullish trend, but more recent data shows it trading lower. Crypto is a roller coaster, folks.
And Quebetics.
They're positioning themselves as the next big thing, with a focus on privacy and security via their DVPN. Their pre-sale is generating buzz, and they're projecting big returns, but remember, those are just projections. No guarantees in crypto.
So as we sign off, it really makes you think, what kind of utility will drive the next wave of crypto winners? Is it blockchain infrastructure like Quant, or meeting user needs like privacy and security like Quebetics, or maybe a bit of both? It's all about finding that balance between established projects and new ventures in this crazy world of crypto. And of course, a reminder that everything we've discussed today is based on the sources we looked at and is not financial advice. Always, always do your own research before investing.